Hey guys, Chris from Provo Beast Audio Installation, and today we're working on this 2001 Chevy Silverado. Now before we get started, you may notice that earlier versions of this model year Silverado or Sierra or Tahoe or Suburban have only a space for a 1.5 radio. So if you're looking to upgrade back in the day that factory radio to something aftermarket like we have here, really the only options were a single DIN, as we can see, or a single DIN that has a flip out touchscreen. In today's video, we're going to show you how to replace your factory 1.5 or single DIN radio and put a double DIN touchscreen in its place. Let's get started. Now the first thing that we need to do before we start prepping everything to get a double DIN to fit in this spot is we got to get the factory equipment out, or in this case, this aftermarket single DIN radio. So the first thing that we need to do is pull off this dash bezel. Now with these older trucks, you can just get your fingers back behind there and they just pop on out, just like so. Now you'll have to grab the keys, pull this all the way down. Let's turn off our air here. Just like so. That comes out of the way. Now also with these older Silverados, it's not bolted in. They're in just with little tabs that you push down on the sides, and the radio should slide on out. Just like so. Whoop, there it goes. Okay, so with the radio on out, at this point what we need to do is head over to the bench and show you the kit that we're going to need in order to put a double DIN in this location, as well as get the wiring harness all taken care of. Alright, so here at the bench, the parts that we're going to need to enable us to put a double DIN in that factory 1.5 location. First and foremost, you need the new dash bezel. Now what we're going to do is link this part down in the description in the event you want to pick one of these up yourself. But essentially this kit allows you to fit a double DIN and the factory location. This kit also comes with the mounting brackets. We picked this kit up from Metra. Now they do come in multiple different colors to match the factory bezel. The customer didn't purchase one that matched his color. Instead, he painted this one black and glossed over it, so it has a nice shine to it. Now in addition, you'll need a wiring harness. Again, we'll post this part number and link down in the description. First thing that we need to do is go ahead and grab our wiring harness here. What we're going to do is marry it up colors and solder it in. Now this one's a used wiring harness. There were leads off for a flip down unit, a flip down DVD screen up in the headliner, so that's what that's for. But essentially here, what we're going to do is match up color for color to our Sony harness here, and we'll match these together. We're going to get everything soldered up, use some heat shrink, and get everything prepped for the dash. So what we've done here is stripped both ends. This is the one that came with the radio, and this is our wiring harness adapter. What we're going to do is literally match color for color. Then we're going to use a soldering iron and make those connections nice and soldered. We've already prepped our harness with extra heat shrink that we can move up and over those connections as soon as those connections cool, and then we'll shrink them down with a heat gun. So let's go ahead and start connecting colors. So we went ahead and soldered all our connections up here, and as these connections now cool, what we're going to do is move our heat shrink up and over those connections, just like so. Then we'll use a heat gun to shrink them down. Alright, so with our connections all cool and good to go, what we're going to do is now wrap our harness up with some Tesa tape just to protect it a little bit more in the dash. Alright, so our harness is all done, good to go. Now we left some leads off. Our backup camera wire, because we are doing a backup camera on this truck, which you can check out in the video that'll be linked in the description. But that is our trigger wire. This blue white is an amplifier turn-on wire in case we had an amp down the road. It's nice and accessible. Then we have a power and ground. Now this had a flip down DVD screen, and then from the original installer, what they did is they used that power and ground they teed off. It's fine, it seemed to work in the past, so we're just going to keep it as is, but we put some butt connectors so we can connect those while we get in the truck. So essentially here our wiring harness is done. Nice and clean, ready to go. the next thing we need to do is prep our radio to be put in the dash. Okay, now we set the dash bezel off to the side because we don't need it at the moment, but what this kit does come with are side bracket adapters, essentially here, just like the original radio did. This will click into place. So we're going to mount these both brackets on our radio itself here, and it also comes with clips for the dash bezel because again, it just clips into place. So really what we need to do is use the hardware supplied by Sony and mount these to our radio. Okay, so we got our kit on. Super simple. Really at this point, what we need to do is pop our clips on the back of our bezel, and let's head over to the truck and get this thing installed. Okay, so we're back here in the truck, ready to start getting everything reinstalled back in the dash. So we have our radio harness. Now again, we have a flip down monitor, previous installer, wired power and accessory to the harness here, so we'll do the same. So we got that all done and ready to go. So really at this point, plug that on in just like so. We also cleaned up the harness here so it's nice and clean, a little bit better than how it was before. Now really at this point in time, we can make all our connections to the back of the radio. Okay, since we have it in, before we put on our dash bezel, let's go ahead and give this a test. Everything seems to be working great. At this point in time, what we're going to be doing is we're going to go ahead and get our dash bezel clipped back in. All done here. Basically, pretty straightforward kit where essentially all we're doing is replacing the bezel to allow us to put a doubled in the factory location. So if you have one of these trucks and it's an older generation of this model year where it only has a dent and a half, now you have an option to put a doubled in there, and it looks great. It looks factory. So if you want any of these parts that we used in today's install, we'll actually link them in the description below with their corresponding part numbers as well. You can pick those on up. Be sure to hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe. We post great content all the time on the channel. Also, if you want to see a backup camera on this truck, we're doing a backup camera, and we'll have that video in the description linked, as well as a card up above. Thanks again for watching, and we will see you in the next video.